chest and your stomach and
Yeah,
your
the
sword.
searching and and then the laughter afterwards, which was really, it was like a cackling from the pit of hell, if that makes sense.
Did the cackling continue, when Mrs. Young was injected with insulin? After that 2-year break?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it did, same
feeling,
cackling,
same cackling?
same feeling, same cackling.
So then did you work anywhere between Crescent Care and Meadow Park?
No,
Okay, did you go directly from one to the other?
pretty much, within a month.
And would those medication errors be documented in a reference letter, or?
No.
Were you made aware of anything like that, that Meadow Park, would be aware of the reason why you were?
I told the person that hired me at Meadow Park, she told me she had found my resume somewhere,
Okay.
because I never applied to Meadow Park.
Oh, really?
But she had found my resume somewhere, and she called me because they needed a nurse.
Oh, okay.
So when we did our interview, her name was Heather, I forget her last name, she's not there anymore. When we did our interview, she said to me, why did you leave? And I told her, I said, I'll be absolutely honest with you, I was fired for med errors. And she said, well, tell me about them, and I did. And she said, okay, well, I believe in second chances, so you're hired. Full-time afternoons, and it was a 1-year contract.
Okay. And how long were you unemployed for then?
A month,
Just a month?
yeah.
Okay. And would you commute back and forth, or did you still live in Woodstock at the time?
I still live in Woodstock, and I commuted back and forth.
For straight afternoons?
Yeah.
What was that? What were the hours for the straight afternoons?
Either 2:30 to 10:30 or 3 to 11.
Okay.
I'm not sure which it was.
So when you got to Meadow Park, what was the difference as far as the workload of the patients that you were responsible for?
No
Was it similar?
difference. It was extremely similar. The only difference was that the RPNs would do the, if there were dressings that had to be done at night, they'd do the dressings on the people at night that were my people.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah.
And your supervisor at that point at Meadow Park, was that the same person that hired you, Heather, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
she was the nursing supervisor.
Okay, so she'd be your direct supervisor.
Yeah.
So RPAD, or RTORVAP,
Yes.
tell me a little bit about it.
He was mean. He would grab the nurses and PSWs whenever they were trying to do things for me. He would grab them, he would twist their arms, he would punch them. Very difficult to do care for. And one night I just got that surgery, like, that's it, you need to go.
Had you done something that night?
No, not really, just been his normal self. And he fought the first needle. And then the second needle I got in. And I forgot something about Maureen. I had given her a dose of whatever we dosed her with to calm her down before I ever gave her the insulin. Forgot about that. But I had done that.
So
Is that in there?
About Maureen?
Yeah. I had given her a sedative dose before I ever gave her the insulin.
Oh, you said you gave her Haldol?
Yeah.
You recall doing that?
Yes, I did.
And then the 2 insulin injections?
Yeah.
Did the Haldol calm her? Do you remember?
No, it didn't. So Art, I gave a large amount of short-acting, a large amount of long-acting in between each other. And then when I left for the night, he was still okay. When I came back the next day and worked, they said that he had had a stroke, severe stroke, and gone to the hospital. And the nurse that I talked to who'd been on the night before, she said, do you know how low his blood sugar was? And I said, how low? And she said, oh, like 1 point something. And then she said, but you know what? I went home and I did some research, and sometimes having a bad stroke can make your blood sugar go low.
Really?
Yeah, that's what she said to me.
That was odd, too.
Yeah, that was odd. But, yeah, so he lived for a couple of days and then he passed.
Do you remember what nurse that was?
It was the night nurse. Little short Filipino lady. That's what I remember.
Okay. And you remember what time of the night that you had injected her?
I'm gonna say 7:30 and then 9:30.
Okay. And his reaction to it?
He fought it.
Did he?
Yeah, but he fought everything.
Would you ever, when you were doing this, did you ever speak to these people when you were injecting them?
No.
Would you ever say anything to them?
Not unless they asked me what I was doing, then I just say it was a vitamin injection.
But having that, and I know it's documented here a few times, having that feeling of anger and frustration, would you ever?
No.
You would never state anything to vocalize your anger towards that person as you were injecting them?
No, never.
And Art then, where did you inject him?
His arm and his thigh.
Okay. And what were you telling him at that point that you were giving him? Did he ask?
It's come on up, settle down, you need to have your medicine. And eventually I put it in the...
And was there an immediate reaction to him at all? Did he stroke right away?
No, he didn't stroke till I left.
Okay. And then that's when you came in the next day and had the conversation with that Filipino nurse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't remember her name.
It's okay. The 4 or 5 days later when he passed away, do you remember if that was back at Meadow Park or was it in the hospital?
It was in the hospital.
Okay. He never came back?
It may have just been 2 or 3 days. It seemed like it was 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And his family was devastated. Absolutely devastated.
What was his health like at that point? Prior to injecting him?
Other than dementia, he was fairly strong. He was in a wheelchair, but he was a good eater and he was strong. And
how old was he?
I'm going to say maybe 78.
Okay. And who was his family members?
He had a son named Art who did stand-up comedy.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, like I think it was just like open mic night.
Right.
And then his wife.
Okay. That's it?
That's all I remember. I know he had other, but that's the only one I remember.
Do you remember if there were other son or daughters or just other family members that you could recall?
There were other family members involved, but I don't recall.
Okay. Did you ever have any interaction with his family? You said they were devastated. When did you learn of that? How did you know
They
that?
came in to take stuff out of his room.
Following his death?
While he was still in the hospital, they came in to take some stuff, and then when he was gone, they came in to take the rest.
Okay. How did you feel having a conversation with him?
Awful. Again, like I betrayed them.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling right now?
Can I go to the bathroom again?
Yeah.
I know we're almost done.
We are. I got 7:10.
Okay.
Okay. We're getting there. I have 7:14
Okay.
to resume. So we left off with Art, Mr.
Yeah.
Horvath, at Meadow Park Nursing Home. And I don't think we ever covered this off first. Meadow Park is in London, right?
Yes,
I'll be
that's
talking
right.
about commuting, right? Okay. All right. Is there anything else you remember about Art at all?
Not really. Well, he was a big game hunter.
Was he?
And he had pictures of it all over the walls in his room.
Yeah. Did you ever converse with these people, like what they did for work and that type of thing? Like, would you remember details like that? Like Art, for
Well,
instance,
Art was a big game hunter. Maurice, I don't know. James, I don't know. No, I guess he never really did.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And at Meadow Park, where would you get the insulin there?
Again, from the medication fridge.
Okay.
And using a spare insulin and eat meals.
And again, it wasn't tracked?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I don't know. Insulin's not something that's usually tracked.
Right. And just because it's not a concern to the home?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is now. I know some homes track it now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just a question out of curiosity. Just my lack of knowledge of it, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you have a portion of your, on the 4th page of this document that you wrote out. And before you send, when did you write this out? I know it's dated the 24th of September.
Yes, that's when I wrote it.
You wrote this full document at that point?
24th and 25th.
Where were you at that point?
I was at the CAMH.
And what made you prepare this document?
The doctor suggested to me that I should.
Okay.
Not to give to the police, but he said that if I wrote it out, it would be a good part of my therapy.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And did take a large amount of pressure off me, and helped me to really clarify the fact that no, it wasn't God. It was something wrong with me psychologically that was making me believe that it was God.
Mm-hmm.
It really helped me to clarify that.
And the original of this document?
Is in my knapsack in the back of your car.
And we'll get down the road at that point, but is providing us with the original document something you'd be willing to do?
Yes.
And we'll get to that.
Do you have a stamp that you can stamp it as the original?
I don't even think we'll need to do that, we'll have you sign a consent form, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
Only if you're willing, of course. You have a portion on the fourth page here, and it's titled People Who Didn't Die.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell me about?
Okay, Clotilde Adriano. She was the first person I ever gave extra insulin to.
Okay.
I think I gave her 40, and again, there was that surging, but it wasn't so much that I wanted her to die, it was more let's see what happens. And I did that to her on more than one occasion.
Okay.
Albino was...
Sorry, she was prior to Mr. Silcox, right?
Yes.
So this was the very first person that you injected with insulin?
Yes.
Okay, and we're at Crescent Care?
At Crescent Care.
And her room was where?
Her room was in the east wing, second door on the left. Then the east wing, first door on the left was her sister Albina. She was diabetic.
Okay.
She was October 2007.
Sorry, that was her sister?
Clotilde and Albina were sisters, yes.
Oh, okay.
Then there was Wayne. He was on the north wing. He had dementia. He was diabetic. He could be uncooperative. And I gave him a large overdose because I thought it was his turn to go.
That was Wayne?
That was Wayne.
And sorry, how old was, sorry, and I hate to go back, I just have a few more questions. How old was Clotilde?
Clotilde was 90 or so.
Okay, and her sister?
Albina was probably 82.
And did they have family that would come and visit?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Very much so.
Who was happy that would come to visit?
Clotilde, I think it was her daughters, and Albina was her husband.
Okay. And long-acting, short-acting?
Short-acting at that point.
In 07, you were still doing short-acting. Okay, and you remember the doses
Oh,
that you would have
wait a second. What would they get at night? It was long-acting, because it was what they got at night. With those two, it was their own insulin, just extra dose, so
Okay.
probably 30 to 40 extra.
And then Wayne, how old was Wayne, sorry?
I'd say 60.
Okay, oh, so he was younger.
He had developmental challenges, as well as dementia, as well as being diabetic, as well as being a handful. And he wanted to die, so again, that one night I just felt that surging, but he didn't die. I think
How would you know he wanted to die?
He would say it sometimes, that he just wanted to go.
Where was Wayne in the Crescent Care?
He was in room 8, which is the men's ward down at the end.
So 8 or 8?
8.
The number?
8 north. 8 north.
All right. And would that be a roommate in there as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know who he was roomed with?
No.
All right. And Mike with Huntington's disease?
That was 2009.
What is that disease?
It robs you of your body and you still have your mind. You get progressively more agitated, you get progressively more psychotic, and you're in a wheelchair and you've got all these movements that you can't control. It's a horrible disease.
And how old was Mike?
He was 54. And again, one night I just felt that surging and I thought, now this must be God because this man is not enjoying his life at all. So I gave him a large amount of insulin. I think I gave him 90 total.
Did you ever do anything to harm you?
No, never.
Did Wayne?
No.
Albina?
No.
Clotilde?
No.
This takes us to a different location, Telford Place in Paris. That's obviously Paris, Ontario, correct?
Yeah.
Outside of Brantford, Woodstock area.
2016 winter.
Okay, and that was Sandra?
Yeah, and
How old was Sandra?
Sandra, I think she was in her 70s.
Okay. And Telford Place, what was the breakup of the rooms there? Where was she located?
She was down the wing, straight down from the nurse's desk, about 2 doors on the left.
Okay.
And she had 3 roommates.
Okay. And she described her a little bit of personality in her health?
Tall, not very well. She didn't walk anymore. She had a good sense of humor. She often said she didn't want to be there. And so one night I gave her an insulin overdose. But she survived because the nurse that came on next went to check on her to do something else and noticed that she was sweaty.